You think I'm just gonna sit there and let you kill me, John? Do you know what? I want to put you on the spot and be like, you can do the intro to Silly Whales.
Yeah? Why
So
didn't
I'm
you?
doing it.
No, you've already done it.
No, I mean you can do the whole "Welcome to Silly Whales" thing.
Oh, I see. I thought you meant like the bullshit intro thing you did at the beginning. Hi, everyone. You're listening to Silly Wales. I'm Joe Kimber, and with me today is
Alex Cupid. Da, 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 da. I don't know why I did that. I don't know what's happening now.
that's the one. That's the one, and he will tell you the rest of the stuff.
See, you don't have it down like I don't. I have nothing under control, guys. This is a mental health podcast. We discuss really sometimes quite tough topics such as depression, anxiety, mental health disorders or conditions, however you want to view it. Pretty much all things surrounding the term mental health. This podcast is for everyone, but that doesn't mean it is for you. It's okay for you to go, hey, they talk about things I don't really want to hear about, and for you to just go and turn it off and watch something happier or sadder. I don't know. It depends on the mood we're in. I think we're in a pretty good mood today, though. We won't hunt you down. We won't chase you. We won't create an angry mob of people and then be outside your house with torches. Okay, that's not who we are. Well, I don't know. Maybe Joe likes a torch or two. Who knows?
I like
Joe,
torches.
do you attend protests?
Have I ever? Yes.
Would you chase somebody down because they didn't watch the show?
uh, Again, I can drive but can't park. This is a thing about me. So
We're fairly
I
limited.
can go
We're not going to
everywhere.
do that.
We're very limited.
But yeah. Anyway, with that all being said, welcome to our show. This is a journal episode. In these episodes, we just talk about our week and
Mm.
we go in and we have like these. Nothing is provoking. Nothing about what we say is thought provoking, let alone provoking. So it's fairly chilled out and relaxed. I'm gonna kick it off because I think last time we did this, I think every time we've done this, it's been you starting. I'm gonna start. I do Muay Thai. There's a beauty in getting your ass kicked. I mean, like it is. There's a feeling that you get when you are facing someone who is like just miles better than you, and you're just like, I'm gonna die,
Hmm.
and like it's a feeling I chase in everything I do. Like as a professional wrestler, I really want to be in the ring with the best. As a footballer, I want to play with the very best, even if I was completely out of my depth. I love the feeling of being like just not good at something or being outclassed. People thinking, why? Why would you want that? Because it's fun. Like, it is fun to know what you're bad at and go, oh, this is why I'm getting whooped. Like, we're sparring and I'm okay for 6 months in. I'm okay. And I'm sparring with a guy who's like 6'5". I'm in danger. I'm 6 foot. Like, my reach is impressive for my height. My arms are long. I couldn't touch him. I couldn't touch him. Like it was incredible. It was literally incredible. And when I did graze his chin with like the last bit of material of my glove, he would then throw a 5-piece extra crispy combo. And I'm just like, well, my one hit of no power for his five with good power, this isn't going well. And those that feeling you get when you're just competing with different people and just you don't feel defeated. You feel like you're growing. And that is such an important feeling. And it is a feeling that I just enjoy and I love getting it and I'm ready to get it again. And it's just like you chase that. And as long as you're being safe, as long as you're not getting concussed or you get your head kicked in, like it's such a good feeling. Like I urge people to compete in something and just lose. Go up against the very best person and be like, I'm taking you on, and whatever happens, happens. And just learn. Just learn. Open yourself up to learn, man. It's so good. Anyway, that was my TED talk, and that's it. That's me done.
You know what? Like, absolutely a hot take because I haven't thought about this too much, but I think that winning actually kind of sucks. Like, actually, kind of sucks. Not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I've done it in the past, and it's ultimately very unfulfilling because I think you're just constantly chasing a high that you can't achieve. So if you're excited to lose, I think it's like probably the best experience you could possibly have because you can lose a lot. There's a lot of things
yeah,
that I would lose, and I'd love to lose and enjoy it. It's like the
yeah.
best thing. So if you can learn to
Like
do that, it's by far the best experience you can ever have in your life.
I think my fighting record is going to be really mixed. I'm going to predict my fight record on this show. I predict in my first 10 fights that I'll win six and lose four. Um, I
Okay.
yeah, that's what I'm gonna predict, and I predict that I'm gonna have like two wins, which people are gonna go, did he actually win that one? And two defeats, which people go, did he actually lose that one? Um, and the basis of this is purely from the fact that whenever people ask me about my ambitions for fighting, it's not a I never go, I want to be a champion. I've never actually done that. It's always been I want to put on a good show and have a good fight rather than like, I want to win. And people get really annoyed when I say things like this as well. Even like
Mm.
when I was playing football at academy level and I would say things like, I just want to be like a backup goalkeeper. I'm happy to be third choice. People are like, you don't want to aim for the top. If you aim for the moon and you miss, you'll fall amongst the stars. Do you know what? Maybe. But do you know what happens if you don't land in any of those places? You're just really sad. So you might as well go with an idea of a realistic target in your head and just go for the best. Go for the very best, but understand that there's a realistic target that you're going to set yourself. So, yes, in my mind, I wanted to become England's number one or USA's number one. But I also understood that my level's probably going to be as a third choice of backup goalkeeper. So I took those bets. Did I work hard? Yes. Did I push myself really hard? Yes. But I also knew the realistic goal. So I knew I had something I could actually reach for. Did I accomplish any of those things? Absolutely not. But we're here. Like, so I know in Muay Thai, I'm not going to have this crazy 10 fight undefeated streak. I'm going to challenge for a world title. I know that's not going to happen because realistically, I just know that's not going to be me. However, I do want to have a catalog of really good fights. You know, like I want to face a random like 6'2" Russian guy who looks like a brick and we just slug out for 4 rounds of a 5 round main event. We go for 4 rounds and one of us just takes a hit and gets KO'd. It doesn't matter who. That's what I want. You know?
It's all about
You
those
know?
personal goals.
Yeah, man. I want like to be in really good matchups. That's it. I want to have like an entertaining resume of fights.
Mm.
But yeah,
Speaking of, though, how has your week been overall then? Have you just only been
it's
getting your ass kicked?
it's
What's
been an
the.
entertaining it's been an entertaining fight. No, it's been pretty good, man. It's been pretty good. Like I think as the weeks progress, there's things I'm getting used to. There's things that are happening. I'm getting a dog. I'm saying it now because I'm scared to say it because whenever I
Oh,
say it, it just like it gets taken away. I'm just gonna commit to it now. We're getting a fucking dog, Joe. Okay, and I say we, I mean me. Um, it's mine.
this,
I'm gonna
I,
teach it tricks.
this is a part of English I hate. You said, I'm getting a dog, and I was like, when? And you're like, I'm saying it now because I'm going to. I'm like, oh. But like your
Thing is,
sentences
I'm
make
ready to pay
perfect
for it. I'm
sense.
ready to pay for it. Okay. The only issue is that, and this is why I hate social media. Right? There's two dogs, and they're both the same age. They're both rescued in Romania together. They can be separated and they'll be fine. But I only really can feasibly get one. And I was like, they're both adorable. They're both like 2 to 3 years old. I'm like, cool. And they look a little bit autistic as well. Okay. If a dog can look autistic. Okay.
Right,
Like,
okay.
I'm like, do you know what? Hey, we're a match made in heaven. Okay, I see it.
It's really good for our branding.
Oh, for sure. Okay, I can't pick between them, so I put it to Instagram, and Instagram were like, "Yeah, both. Just get both." Help. Like, so I think I'm gonna pick the black one because black power. But I keep thinking, what if the other one, the the brownish and white one, is the one for me? And I'm just like, I can't. Animals, dogs. But yeah,
You're talking on Instagram now, are you?
yeah. I posted a story in which people could vote, and you could follow me on Instagram at I am Alex Cupid. But yeah, that has been like my week has been filled with that. You know, it's been oh, it's been a hotly contested thing in my head. I also did my own like normal stuff, like training in Muay Thai. Of course, I've been struggling to get to the gym because I've been really tired and fatigued from either Muay Thai or from work, which is coaching and teaching, whatever it is, and it's like it's been tiring. I also had the scariest job interview. I completely forgot about this as well.
Oh, go for it.
Remember I said I applied for a job in Austria?
You did. I was almost going to make the joke. And
Yeah, yeah.
what about becoming first in Austria for boxing?
Yeah, that'll be hilarious. It's probably not possible. So I also applied for a job in Edinburgh as well. And I was like, cool, this is right up my alley. I'm not going to give details about what the job is, but the interviewer was the most intimidating human being I've ever seen in my life, okay? And I don't get phased. We know I don't get phased. In interviews and public speaking, I smash it, okay? We all know. Like, if you put me on a stage and you give me like 2 minutes to come up with something to say to keep a crowd engaged for 5 minutes, you're set. Just throw me out there, we're fine. For some reason, this guy's intimidating aura just went, nah, I guess I'm not doing anything today. I guess I'm gonna talk in a really high pitched voice, just like this for the whole day. And like I I had no like natural semblance, I had no connection to what I was saying, everything. Man, it is the first time in my life I have failed a job interview. Never failed a job interview. That I failed that one completely. Completely fluffed the lines, man. Like completely.
Oh, that's I don't know. I don't know if to say like, oh, sorry, or if it's just like, you know, if you needed it. I mean, what
Oh,
threw you
it
off?
was fucking
What
hilarious.
what threw you off so much?
I think like I opened up the Zoom call and his face just popped up and it was really stern. And I looked
That's all it
up.
takes.
I looked up and he was just staring deep into my soul, but my camera wasn't on yet. So he's just staring at me and I'm not really able to stare at him. And
That's way
I was
funnier.
just like, why do I do it? And like, um, I'm learning French and German at the same time. So then I mentioned that in passing while we were doing the interview, and this guy drops the dopest flex of my entire life. Okay, this motherfucker speaks to me in French. I respond back in French. Then he speaks to me in German, and I can't respond back in German.
Oh yes,
So
I'm on this guy's side.
I was so close to like completing it. I think if I had done that, if I had passed the German bit, he would have been like, "Have the job. I don't care if you're not qualified enough." But I couldn't pass the German bit. But that was like it. Do you know when people are just like they have an intimidating aura about them? You know, like your dad.
Oh, this whole thing. Yes, kind of. Yeah.
Joe's dad is like has the stoicism that alpha male YouTubers wish they had. Okay,
He is
okay,
stoic. To be fair, he is very stoic.
like straight up, guys, let me tell you from the
He's a very
bottom,
sweet man, but he is stoic.
but the stoic men, okay, the true stoic men are sweet people, okay. This
True.
idea that to be stoic you have to be like a cerebral assassin and you have to hunt people down, it's just antiquated and nonsense. And
Mm.
my headphones have just cut out on me, so I have to go to the wired ones. What were we saying? Oh yeah,
We talk. Yeah.
what were we talking
Stoic
about?
men. Stoic
Yes,
men.
stoic men are sweet. They don't have to be this whole cerebral assassin oh, I don't need to do this, and I drive this car, and women are trash, and trans people are weird, and they don't shouldn't. That's not stoicism. Like that's just
Yeah.
being a prick, you know,
Hmm.
you know, and that's it. That's what life is. Okay, life is encountering people who just terrify you for no reason at all. Okay, like literally the day before that interview, I was getting punched by a guy who was 4 inches taller than me with a smile on my face. And then a guy on a computer screen just melts me completely. Game over. Game set match. You know? It's
Checkmate.
over. You know? So yeah, that interview happened. And then the Austrian one happened. Because I got an interview for the Austrian job.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, they're gonna realize I don't speak any languages spoken in Austria, right? Which will be German. I think they do speak a bit of French there, and they do speak Italian there as well. With German, and I think does Austria have its own language?
I'm pretty sure it does. I was waiting for you to mention
But the
the other
reason why
language.
I say like that is because a lot of those countries have English as a second language, like taught really well. So I don't have to really worry about like that. German is the official language of Austria.
Yeah, actually, it isn't. Okay, interesting.
So, but again,
I think it's just a
most
dialect. I'm thinking of.
yeah,
Sorry.
most German people don't have issues speaking English because they learn it in school really well.
Mm.
So, but however, we can't speak other languages because we don't put that same effort into learning those languages because we have this idea that we're entitled to dominate the language space in that way.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
The Austrian interview was so cool because it became very apparent that the job that they were posting and who I am wouldn't align super well. So it became a conversation, a very natural conversation of like my goals in this particular field and what it is I'm actually looking to do. And I got so much knowledge from the interview, from the interviewer. I took it all away, and now I'm actually I'm 99% gonna get a new job thanks to that alone. Like
Mm.
the Edinburgh interview gave me a lot of like information and tidbits, and I knew that I failed the interview because I was scared shitless. With the Austrian one, they were like, "Well, you lack the experience, but also we like your energy. So here's how you can succeed." That's perfect. Thank you. Like, it was good. It was
Yeah, it's
good.
great, man.
And now I'm like, I'm looking at the next job application, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna earn so much more now, thanks to a very equally stoic Austrian man. Pretty much Central Europe. I love you.
Yeah, doing decent stuff over there on occasion.
Yeah, but yeah, but yeah. Um, I'm currently installing Pal World. I'm gonna be playing the hell out of that, and then um, I'm gonna then prop this podcast into a couple of little videos like we've seen on social media. I think that me just ranting about this interview process is gonna be a separate clip, like straight away. But yeah, aside from that, positive mindset, positive like things in my head. Despite me also hating myself and hating everything, we're still feeling good. The podcast is in a healthy-ish place. We're actually making the podcast, Joe. I think, you know what, Joe? I think that we're doing a positive thing for ourselves, okay? Good. I'm in a weird mood. I'm rocking with it. Let's go. Yeah.
So you're generally quite good, is what I'm hearing.
Oh, yeah, yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah. I, I,
Joe,
I yeah.
how the fuck are you?
Thanks for asking. I was just about to say. Uh, um, I I'm not necessarily as good as I would like to be. I'm starting to go back towards not being as in a good mood. Which I did find it funny when you said that this issue, like, oh, I think Joe's in a good mood. I was like, not really. Like, I think the problem is just that I will go through phases of like kind of not doing anything or not finding enjoyment in things for a period of time, and that will kind of generally lower things. But like, even just doing what we've done so far has already like brought up my mood a bit. So having said that, though, my week recently has actually been really, really good. I went to see my brother this weekend just gone, which was really fun. The first day was a bit of a crapshoot to an extent because I was meant to get to Manchester for 12 and ended up getting there for much later. uh, like much later. Sadly, there was certain like gale. There was very high winds that was happening in the UK around that area, and a tree fell on the line just before I was going to, but before I would reach Birmingham and get my change to Manchester. So I was delayed, and as it turns out, Bromsgrove, I know nothing about you, but holy fuck, do I never want to go back there again because I was there for 2 hours with a load of other people waiting for a replacement service, like a bus service, and nothing came. And then when something finally came, it wasn't even going in the right direction. And then eventually, the best it could do, they said, "Oh, we'll take you to somewhere called Longbridge." Again, I've been to Longbridge now, but I can't say much for it. But holy shit, do I not want to go back there again? Because we went there and then finally was able to get on a bus to Birmingham. And so I think I was at Bromsgrove for about 2 hours, and then I think by the time I got to Birmingham, there was a about over 3 hour delay. Um, so I got to Manchester way later than expected because I also had to wait for a train that was even later. So basically, by the time I actually got to Manchester, it was dinner wasn't even an option at that point because we were going to a comedy club. Which luckily, I by the way, I've not been to a comedy club in my adult life, or I guess in my life ever. Like I've never been to. It's not itself an adult club, comedy adult club. That's a very different thing. It's not in itself a comedy club. It, or maybe it is. I know they have comedy there at the very least, but I think it's like a venue space. Like there's like a club space, and then there is like a comedy club space as well. So there's all that sort of stuff. Um, and I'm going to shout it out today and shout out a bunch of the people that were there because it was really, really, really good. Um, my brother arranged it. It was me and my mum were going to see my brother in Manchester. Never actually having been to see my brother in Manchester ever. He'd gone there for uni and stuff, and we are going to see where he lived, and he's got a job up there and stuff. And we were like, yeah, let's go over for the weekend. Um, so the place we went to is called Area. It's right by Canal Street. If you've been to Manchester, you might know Canal Street. Um, and also, and it is on Sackville Street, right next to Sackville Gardens, where there is a memorial to Alan Turing in there. Uh, Canal Street, by the way, is like the sort of there's a bunch of like LGBTQ plus clubs and stuff along that street. So Alan Turing being there is obviously like you know a good nod towards the person who the UK government was committed horrific crimes against for being homosexual. Um, but the actual event was great. It was such a risk because you never quite know with like comedy clubs. I think if you haven't been there before, and especially like as a random thing, like you never know what might come out of it. Um, and like what the vibe is going to be, and you don't know if you're going to enjoy it, like because comedy is so subjective that way.
Yeah.
But I'll just shout them all out. Mandy McCarthy was the kind of intro and host, like the comedy host for the night. We had Ricky Belshaw. Ricky Belshaw is actually he explained it, but I also looked him up afterwards after his set. He actually was a Paralympian. He was a Paralympian for dressage for the UK, and he won silver in 2008. So he's got an actual like Wikipedia that you can look him up on. um, and he was fucking hilarious. I found him really funny. John Sedman, that's John Sedman, also really good. Every set was good, by the way. Just if I don't say stuff about someone, that's not because of anything. It's just what specific things are worth mentioning. Louis Etienne, I think you would have really liked Louis Etienne, Alex. And to be fair, I think you would have liked most of these people. And then Rich Wilson, who was the headliner. And I really enjoyed his energy, generally speaking. Like I really, really enjoyed him. And it was all great. Like such a good night. Um, and then afterwards we went clubbing. Um, So I've been traveling all day. I've got my, my waterproof. I've got my bag. My mum has, got a bunch of stuff because we haven't even been to like a hotel or we haven't left anything at hotel or stuff. Like basically what we came with is what we had on us at that point. And um, we decided to go on Canal Street and we went to a club called Bar Pop. Which, if anyone knows what that place is, it's a very small venue, relatively speaking, but it's fun, and we enjoyed it. And Mum got quite drunk, and we had to help her out a little bit. But we had a really good night dancing. That was a very unusual and surreal moment. Me dancing in the club with my mum, but we're all good. We all dance quite a lot. Like when we go out and stuff, we're quite good movers. So actually, it was a really enjoyable time. And I know some people will cringe at the whole idea of having that experience, but genuinely a fun time. Uh, we went to. Did we go anywhere else afterwards, or did we go? Or did we head home? I think we then went home. I stayed with my brother, and then my mum went to a premiere, and uh, but like I think we went back to the house and like talked for a bunch of hours. And I don't think my mum even got back to the premiere until like 1 to 2 o'clock in the morning or something like that. So, first night, great night, and then we had a great day the next day, and we went to Manchester Museum. Manchester Museum is actually really nice. I was shocked because my brother described it as being quite small, and it is relatively small. But actually, I was really shocked by the quality that they of the stuff they had, and just how much they could put in a space. And I thought it was a really fun time. Um, Manchester. Have you ever been to Manchester, Alex?
Yeah, multiple times. Man. Manchester's like I really like Manchester. It's not. I don't know why. Whenever I think of a city, I always think, would I live there? Nah, like Manchester's a pretty chill place.
Yeah. Also, I just realized I said John Sedman earlier. I meant Josh Sedman. Josh Sedman
You
earlier.
did
My
this in the
apologies.
WhatsApp message you sent me as well.
I know I was looking at the initial list I sent, and then I suddenly saw the message I sent later on saying Josh Sedman, not John Sedman. That would be embarrassing.
Here we are.
But now I've done it properly. So there you go. Um, the reason I ask, because I thought you did. I was pretty sure you had, and I'm stunned. I was stunned by Manchester. Like in terms of as a city, I wasn't expecting Manchester. Like I've now been to Birmingham, so I now have like London. I have like Bournemouth, Bristol, Worcester, um, and like Manchester as like Worcester isn't quite like a city in that scale, but like as the others are, and even Bournemouth to an extent is quite similar to Worcester in that sense, even though they're very different. Um, but like I've been to a few big cities now and actually like spent like a decent amount of time at them, and I was shocked. Manchester is. Oh, I've also been to Liverpool. But Manchester was fucking crazy, man. I couldn't believe like the style of it is so characterful. For a city, I was just shocked by the way it looked and the way it felt. Um, I'm not saying it's like perfect rain, like uh, raindrops and roses and whiskers on kittens or whatever. But like it's an incredible experience to have like these very very different like characteristics and feels in these different places. And I'm quite liking the North and the Midlands. The more I see of it, I'm actually
Yeah,
seeing
man,
some
it's a beautiful place.
interesting places there. I always thought I would, but like actually having seen like all of the stuff. Oh, and trams. Oh, I've also been to Sheffield. Sheffield was a really interesting place as well for me. I thought that was fascinating, and they both have trams, Manchester and Sheffield. And I'm not saying that trams are crazy cool, like good or anything, like specifically, but I just find them really enjoyable, fascinating, and cool. It's just something I've always thought, like, why don't we have them in London? And Hackney used to have trams, by the way. Don't know if you know this.
I did know
Like,
this. I did.
we did, yeah, we used to have trams, and now they're gone. And I want them brought back for all of the disruption that it will cause to cars. I don't give a shit. Fuck it. Just bring the trams back. The real problem is we
Uh,
just don't have any space in London. But like fucking hell, trams are cool and enjoyable. Um, uh, yeah. So the actual like weekend there was good. And I went and donated blood yesterday, which meant I also went to Droitwich Spa. I've been doing a bunch of traveling recently. It turns out, like randomly for the last like 4 days, and some of it quite a lot. Spent a lot of time actually traveling as well. Um, but I will say that I think whether it maybe it is because of the traveling. Also, I wasn't having fuel, and I realized it meant I found it. I wasn't eating as much as I normally would. Like I just wasn't getting as much nutrition or calories because if I'm just relying on my ability to eat food normally, I'm not that good at it. But like having having fuel makes it quite easy, and I think I'm starting to get a bit recovering a bit from that. But I think that actually was making me feel a bit better, like the early weeks of this month. So I'm curious to see if that will like help improve things, and I'll come back a little bit recovered from it all. By the next time we record or whatever. But I'm definitely on a lower point, which there's part of me that's going, yay, I'm not feeling the best. Woo, that's good for a podcast. Um, but
yeah.
but at the same time, like to be fair, is we're not in the worst of it anyway. And I had a really good time, and I'm so happy to see my brother. Like my brother, there are certain people in my life where I think when I just interact with them, especially if I haven't interacted with them for a while, I just I feel just so much better and happier as an individual. Like it just does something to me. Like people are so good at making me happy. Um, like the people that I care about and like have really good experiences with. I also met Eamon's new partner, who's really nice. Actually, I quite like them. So like, yeah,
Hey,
I'm all
is that like
down for it.
your big brother seal of approval?
Um, yeah, like we talked about philosophy amongst other things, like when it was just us on our own. So yeah, I'd say so. I'd say it's my seal of approval. I said that to my brother. Like it's like yeah, I think they're cool. You know, and it's like and and also quite good looking. I would say like as an average, like quite good looking individual. Just completely superficial and everything like that. But just as a kind of like oh brother, you've done well for yourself
Yeah, man.
kind
Look,
of situation.
like I think when right now, like as two individuals, me and you, are in a very like place where I don't know if I'll call it stable or not, but we're in a really like we can see that there's positive things to come, but we're also very cautious of the negative things that could also be coming too. I'm just like, I'm really happy that I don't know. I'm happy in the fact that we both know that I don't know, I don't know how to say it. I think it's more like I'm comfortable in the uneasiness of situations, if that makes
Well,
sense.
it's getting easier, at least for me, right?
I'm gonna post this show on Instagram. I keep saying, like, me and Ryan, who's a friend of the show, and a friend of mine, um, we've been going back and forth on this about me posting this podcast to Instagram, and I keep going, I can't do it for whatever reason, and I need to just do it. Okay, I need to do it. Hopefully, by the time you're listening to this, I posted this to Instagram. And maybe you found the show because I posted it to Instagram. In which case, high five to me, high five to Joe, high five to Ryan, and high five to yourself. But here we are. Um, the thing is, I have 900 and like something followers, right? Somebody there's gonna click on the podcast and they might hate it and they might love it. And I have this whole fear about it. And I keep telling myself, I can't do it. And it's just so stupid. It is so stupid. It's such an irrational fear. built on a rational foundation of you are a victim of stalking. Um, but it is
Just to
irrational.
be just to be clear, we were talking about like the success of like we're talking about losing and winning earlier, right?
Yeah.
And we were talking about like getting our asses kicked and stuff. Like, how much do you think the success of this venture that we're on will affect your motivation towards this?
I think it's successful right now.
Well, that's good. That's a great. If that's how you feel, then great.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. If this was the Alex Cupid show, which is a separate project, like, and if I saw the Alex Cupid show with numbers like Silly Whales, like right now, which is like what we have like tens of listeners, and we have like a strange amount of views on YouTube randomly, like I'll be really upset and I'll be like, I interviewed this person for an hour and a half and I had a great time and only like 15 people actually watched it. I'll feel so defeated by it. But this feels like a project in which I'm very much like transparent with it. So I'm very much like, look, the editing isn't going to be good because I'm not a very good editor yet, and I'm just enjoying the journey, and I'm enjoying looking at the numbers grow, and I'm enjoying having people message, be like, hey, haven't spoken to you in a while, but I listened to your show, and I found this fairly entertaining. Or I found like, I like the chemistry between you and your friend and things like that. And it's really good to get like, an encouraging message and be like, hey, just keep doing what you're doing, enjoy it. So yeah, I think this show is a success. England, I think this show is a success already.
why is England your like your go-to word for that?
Because rather than saying English, I just say England.
Oh, okay. I didn't actually quite understand it. I thought it was just like a grounding word you used to like to get your mouth back in order. And I was like, why England?
Yeah. My brain processes words a lot faster than I can say them. It's
Yeah.
why I'm really bad at rapping. Like, hey, you're a poet. That means you can rap. Nope.
Yeah,
Like,
I just know words that I will forget in the moment constantly, like you had earlier.
yeah, yeah. Like, I some of my poems can definitely be rapped, but I will forget the words instantly. Like,
Mhm.
it's bad. Yeah, yeah, Jesus. Now look at me
Oh,
yawning.
oh.
Did I mention that I did an open mic show on the last Shell episode?
Um, no, because you told me that in a message while I was in Manchester, so no.
There we go. Yeah, I did that. I did an open mic at the Fiddler's Elbow. Went well. I have the audio of it. I don't know if it's good enough to post anything, but if it is, then I might. What I might do, I might use the audio from that for the actual intro to this podcast. But yeah, guys, it's been good. We're having a good time, and I think this show is a success regardless of how many views it get. Would I love to take this of it in the future? Yes, but first of all, we need more than 15 people to be listening to it.
Is that the music venue, the Fiddler's Elbow?
Yeah, music live venue in Camden.
Yeah, Chalk Farm, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never even heard of this place. I was just looking it up. Like, was it good? Was it a nice venue?
Oh, it's lovely, lovely, lovely.
It looks cool.
Yeah, it's a really cool venue, honestly. The goddamn poetry jam and all that stuff.
Was it
Um,
like is this like a regular thing at all, or is it just
yeah, it's
like
monthly.
once
It's
a month?
monthly.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so it's like it's pretty cool venue. Big, like, nice little crowd. Really intimate. I'm doing things. I'm doing things. Who would have thought, man? Yeah,
Mm.
I know,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, when you say you're not sure if it's usable, like how unusable or usable is this like audio? Because you
Um,
might, if it's
listen
just
to the
a case
first
of
20 seconds. I listened to the first
okay,
20 seconds and I was like, I can understand what I'm saying. Whether I want to actually have it on Spotify is a whole different thing.
oh, I get
I
you.
struggle to listen to myself back, which is why my album's taking so long because I need to try and like pick out tracks. And I also want to record it all again because like I just feel like, I will never think it's good enough. pretty much.
But if someone else who's good says it's good enough, then you can be like, yep, done.
If I record it with somebody like with me and they take it away from me and they make it, then like as someone who likes being in control of their own situation, that is a situation where I'm happy for someone to take control. Like take my work off my hands, make it clean, make it better, give it back to me, and I don't even give it back to me, just release it. Like don't give me a choice.
Yeah, yeah, no, I don't want to know. Like,
Yeah,
I but I guess I'm thinking now, a lot of YouTubers have this experience, right? Because a lot of them don't even see the video before it's posted. Like they'll send it to an editor, and the editor like posts it for them, and then they
yeah, yeah,
like and all that stuff. Like I know certain YouTubers who have mentioned like, oh, like they don't like watching their own content, because they just don't like they can't like I don't know, like that same thing you're feeling, I'm guessing, which I don't
yeah,
quite have. Like, and it's sort of as a result, like they are not part of their own creative process to a certain degree after a certain point. And but obviously, like, for some of them it's like, they have like good relationships or real trust in like whoever they're giving it to, and that in its own way is a good thing, right? It's not like a bad thing necessarily that you have someone help you do something
yeah, no,
for you necessarily. I think as long as it's coming from a good space or a good
yeah,
place, like the quality of this will be better if I give it to you. It's not a question of how much I can. It's not a question of like I don't want to do it or anything like that. It's just a case of if I do it, then I know it won't be as good because I can't look at it as from the outside perspective as well as you can. You
yeah.
know, I'm sure for many that isn't the case, and they just aren't bothered to learn how to edit. But you get, and they can afford it. But you get what I mean. Like,
Yeah, I get what you mean entirely. Like, for example, I can edit this podcast right now and it'll take me 10, 15 minutes because there's only one note in which my headphone dies midway through. Done, easy. The one we did earlier, which is like the Silly Whales Presents about neurodiversity, that's going to take me about like a day and a half to edit because I have to listen to it and I hate listening to myself. I then have to cut things that I think aren't interesting for like listeners to listen to, like specific to only me and you and people who
mm,
live like with us or live around us and all that stuff and our friends and things like that. Cut all that out, and after that means repeating and listening to it over and over and over again, which I just cannot stand doing. Listening to you is fine. I actually literally edited last week's episode on solo. I muted myself and just listened to you. I listened to you literally talk to nobody because I was muted. I muted my own voice track.
I do talk a lot, so there weren't too many gaps, I imagine.
There was one gap for like 2 minutes where I was speaking. And I was like, "What was I even saying?" And I pressed it, and it was like me. I could have cut the whole thing from the whole podcast, and I would have noticed. But yeah, yeah, this is fun. This is fun. But
Yeah, we don't
guys,
really want to cut our stuff. We've talked about this behind the scenes and all of that, but like generally speaking, you know, I mean, you literally leave in stuff that's like technically mistakes if you think about
yeah,
it that way,
oh
but
yeah,
like
yeah. Yeah.
just to fuck around like with it.
Like I don't think I think for my own show, for the Alex Cooper show, I will probably eventually just hire like this like an editor and all that stuff to help. I will never do that for this show probably, just because of how I, I enjoy the process of this. So
Mm.
I'll keep it as long as I can. And the idea of having like a producer sit in and listen to us talk about death and life and all that stuff, and nah, so that's not for me. you
This
know?
is this is this is more of a comfort thing
Yeah.
than yeah, I can see it actually.
Do you have anything else to add?
Um, People donate blood. We need more blood, especially if you're in the UK. I know that there's shortages. Please, there's an app you can get. It's actually not. It's really, really easy to use. Like once you're registered on it, it's been many, many years since I've done it. But I've donated not that many times, but you can technically donate a maximum of about four a year. But honestly, they're very cautious and they won't let you if they don't think that if they don't think you should. Obviously, there's lots of reasons why you might not be able to donate blood, whether it's their specific things that they prevent you that say you shouldn't, or if it's more specific to you, like you pass out, for example, if you get stuck with a needle, like my friend does. Um, because I was talking to him about it at, like once upon a time, and then he mentioned that, and I was like, "Oh yeah, no, you can't
I'm
do
also the same. I do pass out.
that." Oh really? You as well?
Yep.
Oh damn it.
I get really
Um,
lightheaded anyway.
yeah, I have A negative blood, which is apparently quite an important blood for some reason. I don't quite remember what the reason is, but it's useful basically. Um, but there's shortages in general. So like, hey, let's do it. Also, there's much less of a drive for people to donate blood in for the younger generation. Like our parents, especially my parents, can literally remember like you know vans like coming round to workplaces and being like, hey, if you want to donate your blood while you're on lunch, like go ahead. Maybe certain things were less safe to be fair back then to an extent, but I genuinely think that the advertising around blood donation and the well not advertising but I guess the exposure and the discussion about it and everything else like considering we're in shortages now the fact that there is it feels like there's so little actually pushing you to do it is
Yeah, yeah.
kind of weird, you know.
I've not seen any advertising for it either. So
Yeah.
I'm actually going to
Or,
look into that. Your advertising for the NHS worked for me. I'm going to look into donating blood after this.
oh but I mean if you can't you can't, like don't get me wrong, like it's not that everyone can do it. There's lots
Even
of
if you
reasons why
can't, do
people
it
can't.
anyway. If you die, you die. You died for a cause.
No, it's actually really bad. So, just as a little heads up, if there's any reason why you think you might have to be given blood, there's like like if you're worried about a surgery or something like that, or like at any point in the next like maybe even like year from when you from when you from a blood donation, or maybe not a year. Sorry, go speak to someone who actually understands with this. But there's apparently a weird thing where like if you're donated blood, you can't donate blood again like or if it's not even just for a period of time like ever there's like a really weird rule about it so
You get
you
what you
might have a
give.
surgery and you're fine like you don't need blood but like if I had a surgery and I donated blood like recently and as a result I needed blood or if I needed blood like as a result of the surgery anyway then I would no longer be able to donate after that so
When you get your blood back,
yeah, it's slightly complicated, but basically, generally speaking, don't have to worry about it. It's just a very small thing I remembered. But like, it's one of those things where if you can't do it, you can't do it. But if you can, like honestly, after the first time that you've done it, you will be way more used to it. And certainly by the third time, it's like basically just it just feels good to know you're helping out in certain ways. Like literally, whenever I go to a blood donation now, almost certainly everyone is like over 30. And like last night, most of the people donating blood were like in their 50s, 60s, 70s. I swear I saw someone who was like late 60s at least donating
old
blood.
blood.
And old blood, bad blood. It's not necessarily like a bad thing, but the reality is that like that I think shows that the demographic is very clearly like skewed, and I believe the reason that it's so skewed is because we just have not been exposed to that. It's only because of my parents that I was like when I was younger, I was like, I'm going to donate blood too. I'm going to feel, this is a goal that I'm going to have. And then, when I went to uni, I did. And I realized that no one else, very few people were around my age. So just, think about doing it. Like, have a look into it at least. Most of the time, it's
Donate
actually
the
really
blood.
easy to organize. Yeah.
Don't let the vampires win.
Like you're like the slogan hype man to this, where you're just like, yeah, donate the blood. Yeah, bad blood. Yeah. Just in and out. Sorry, that's my last thing. I didn't actually have anything like of the podcast style thing to say. Just I thought, you know what, fuck it. I was thinking about this last night, so fuck it. I'll just send it.
It's dope. Perfect way to end. And that being said, we're going to take 2 steps to the rear and get out of here. We're in the wind. See ya.
See ya. Love you all.